up, guys? What's
Champ,
up, guys?
Congratulations on obviously a fantastic result against clearly a very dangerous guy. I know you're still probably letting it all soak in and want to go back and watch it, but give us your initial thoughts right now on your performance this evening.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on, sorry, I got a call. What you talk? I know I hear you. Thank you. Oh God, we don't do one. Eh?
Hey, baby, I love you.
Okay. Okay, okay, I go call you after I finish.
I'm your number one fan in the whole wide world. And still.
Thank you now. Thank you now. Lie. Don't tell them before Nanjano they ever carry lies. Okay, okay, I go call now after I did press conference right now.
Call me after.
Okay.
Call me after. All right.
That's my dad, if you guys didn't know.
It sounded like he was a little excited.
He was a little excited. You know, this one was a tough one because obviously I couldn't have him here to watch this because of the COVID, and plus I didn't want to cheat him of the experience. There's something very special about a UFC fight, especially in Vegas, and it's not the same experience without 25,000 people screaming for you. So I didn't want to cheat him of that. I want him to get the full experience when he comes to a fight. But that question, I remember your question. It was a little tough. This one was tough for me. This one was very tough for me because Gilbert is somebody that we kind of grew in the sport together. And it was somebody that we shared a common goal. We both wanted to be the best in the world. Obviously at two separate respective weights. But you know, it was a tough one for me because Gilbert, and first and foremost, I want to say I'm proud of Gilbert. I'm very proud of him because a lot of people kind of wrote him off after he suffered that knockout at lightweight, but he recomposed himself, something that, you know, I'm no stranger of. He recomposed himself. He got back on the horse. He moved up on weight class, and he tore through that division. He deserved to be in there with me tonight, and I'm extremely proud of him for that. And that's part of the reason why this one was a tough one for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tension early, right? I mean, you guys are right in the center of the cage together, staring each other down. There's no touch of gloves. I mean, was that a good thing for you or a bad thing for you? I mean, did it keep you on point, or did it make it even, you know, a little tougher mentally for you?
You know, this one was tough initially coming in. It was tough for me, but I said it earlier in interviews. Like, my mind is different than these guys when we get in there. I see no face. You know, that is my octagon. And I said earlier, you know, he said, oh, I have something he wants, and he's coming to get it. What's more personal than that, than somebody that you grew up in the sport with, that you train with daily, looking at your food, looking at your plate and saying, you know what, I want his plate. You know, I'm not happy with mine. I want his plate. What's more personal than that? And I say it to these guys, anything you say can and will be used against you when you step inside that octagon with me. And I remember watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and I was like, oh, this guy thinks like I do. Because when I go in a competition with these guys, that's exactly how I think. If you give me anything, if I even hear you say in a video, oh, I'm gonna knock what you gonna do to me? Oh, you better be ready to back that up when we step inside that octagon.
For what it's worth, he said tonight he'll pay for your girls' private school moving forward if he can get the belt at some point.
Of course, you know, I'll bring it back home, and you know, like I'm no stranger to it. Like I would definitely try to, you know, I know this one's gonna be tough for him, but you know, he's a champion in his own way, and he'll get back on the horse, and you know, I'd be more than happy to, you know, go to dinner with him.
Nice. He clipped you early. Talk about that. I mean, how hurt were you at that point? What's going through your mind? Because it, you know, from the outside, it looked like you were hurt.
I wasn't necessarily hurt. I was just kind of a little off balance. Like, the cage was slippery in there. That was I kept pouring water. If you saw in between rounds, I kept pouring water on the ground because it was very slippery in there. But funny thing is, that's exactly kind of how our sparrings went. You know, he's he was a lightweight coming up, but he's got big power in his hands, and he's a hooker. Anybody else in the division, they get caught with one of those hooks, they're going to sleep. But you know, I'm a champion for a reason, and I recompose better than anybody. And so I just kind of had to recompose myself and listen to my coaches. They told me not to rush it. You know, I know what I worked on this camp, and I just had to stick with the game plan, go out there and watch the whole fight come into fruition.
Yeah. Afterwards, you know, after you get the stoppage, you walk around, you're saying, put some respect on my name. I'm curious, who do you feel like is not giving you the respect?
Everyone. The critics, the media, all of them. You know, not that I really give a shit, but I give a shit. I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my shit, you know? So put some respect on my name. Like, that pound-for-pound list is not a popularity contest, you know? I haven't really lost rounds in here. I control what goes on inside that cage. And, you know, it's just I feel just because I'm not the loudest guy in the room, I'm not the most braggadocious, you know, I don't get in trouble outside. I'm not in headlines all the time. You know, I feel like they kind of, you know, like, let's be honest, they kind of disrespect me in a sense, you know? That pound-for-pound list is not a popularity contest. I need to move up on that list.
Yeah. And I know you kind of mentioned the emotions that were involved. You and Gilbert had a nice embrace afterwards. Can you share kind of what was said there?
Yeah, man. Like I said, this one was a tough one for me. When I step inside there's no friends. Like he said it himself. Just give you that's how my mind works. He said I have something he wants and he's coming to get it. What? What's more personal than that? He said that himself, and so I had to go in and take care of business. I see no face in there. But once the fight was over, I had to come to it, and I realized that I just did that to somebody that I spent time with, someone I care about. I care about his kids. You know, I watched them grow. And, you know, it was very, very tough for me to have to do that to him. So I just talked to him, and I told him he deserved to be there. You know, everyone thought he was down and out, and he had to rebuild himself back up, move up a weight class, and tear through guys. He deserved to be there, and I'm extremely proud of him.
Yeah. Last thing for me, I know you want to enjoy this moment, but I know you have goals to continue dominating the division. So it sounds like Leon Edwards and Colby Covington might be a fight that's coming up, but you also had some very strong words for Jorge Masvidal immediately after the broadcast. So do any of those names, is that Masvidal fight more important to you than maybe the winner of Edwards Covington?
Well, like I said, put some respect on my name for a reason. You know, that fight, he had a built-in excuse. That's the only reason he took that fight. We tried to make that fight twice before. He said no. You know, for the May, you know, we know when Khabib and I think it was Ferguson, when they fell out, we tried. I called Dana right away. I said, hey, it's 2 weeks' notice. I haven't really been training, but I'll step in if you need me to. And they tried to make that fight, but Masvidal said no. And then he did an interview to where he said, oh, well, the numbers weren't right and this and that. He's been saying no. The only reason he took that fight on Fight Island is because it was a built-in excuse. He was training the whole time. But he said, oh, I only had 6 days' notice, so that's why that went that way. Well, guess what? I'll give you a whole training camp, and this time I will stop him. I promise you. That's why I was disappointed in myself that last fight, because I know I could stop him. But with all the circumstances that took place, I just went out there and dominated him from start to finish. So this time I will stop him if he wants to step up. But I guarantee you he doesn't want to. He's going to be quiet.
Is that the one you want, though, above anything else?
They can all get it. I don't care. They can all get it. They need to show me some activity, you know. Show me something, and step up, and you know, and we'll take care of business.
Kamaru, I was going to say, Kamaru, you're still a relatively young guy, but are you starting to think of your place in the history of this sport and in the division, given what you have already accomplished? And you know, you won 17 in a row now, and the number of title defenses you have.
No, I'm not. The only part of history that I think about is the fact that I'm the first African-born champion, and what that means to all of the children, all of the people across the continent of Africa, and not just Africa, but all across the world. You know, places like Indonesia, you know, China, everywhere. You know, that's kind of what I care about. You know. With great power comes great responsibility, and the fact that I was able to do it with the circumstances that I was born into, that's really what's important to me. You know, as far as, you know, where I am in winning, I don't know how many numbers you just said, but that's as long as I focus on my fight and take it one at a time, the rest is just going to pile up. So I don't worry about those things. And I know you guys tried to, this whole week, you guys tried to throw me off by, oh, you get to pass GSP with this win. And I had to just block you guys out. I couldn't pay attention to that. I had to block you guys out, go out there, take care of business, and the rest is going to pile up.
I wonder if you felt like your jab was a key. In the second round, you adjusted. It seemed like you started landing that jab. Was there anything that you learned from the first round that helped you there, and just the significance of that punch during the fight?
Yeah, going in, I was like, wake up. I was trying to wake myself up. Wake up, because it kind of felt like sparring to me. Yeah, of course, I had the nerves, but it kind of felt a little like sparring to the point where I was like, yo, you need to wake up. This is a fight. This guy came here to take what you have. And so the best thing he can do was throw that big punch. Once he hit me, I was like, oh, shit, we in a fight. We got to fight. And my coach is George. They let me know a long time ago, like, you have a tremendous jab. You got to use it. And I don't use it enough. This camp, we try to stick with the fundamentals and just use it. Just work on it, and work on it a lot. And it showed out there. Once I kind of recomposed myself and started working it, getting his timing off and hitting them, my jabs feel like straight right hands to the face. And I just had to believe in it and just watch the fight break down.
And then, I don't want to go too deep in the weeds here, but many years ago, Joe Louis was a heavyweight boxing champion. Okay, Joe. And he fought Billy Conn, and Billy Conn, after being ahead after 12 rounds in the 13th, got knocked out. And he said to Joe, why didn't you give me the title and let me keep it for 6 months? And Joe said, you had it for 12 rounds and you didn't know what to do with it. And I'm wondering, almost like, Gilbert was in that spot tonight. He hurt you, and he felt like he kind of went crazy and trying to knock you out instead of staying within his plan. Do you feel like there was a similarity in that way, like that you stayed composed and he didn't, and that led to your win?
Absolutely. I think, I got this big shiny thing up here to where everybody's coming after. Everyone in the world is training for this. And so once he landed that big shot, that shiny thing looked real good to him, So he jumped on me and he thought he was going to get it. But, one thing I do better than everyone is recompose myself. I'm the champion for a reason. I mentally had to stay calm, recompose myself, start working, and I knew that I was going to get him out of there. Thank you.
Kamaru, you said it felt like sparring in there. Is that because it was Gilbert, or just because your energy was a little bit low anyway?
No, because it was Gilbert. Like I said, I spent so much time with him. I know him. I care for him a lot. So putting those emotions aside, he made it easier for me, because him and my former team, they kind of trolled me a lot. They were posting things, new champ coming, posting all of this. And this is a team that I gave my sweat and blood and years for. And so they kind of started trolling me and saying those things, and it got to me. It got to me a lot. But, I'm that type of person. Anything you say can and will be used against you. And so, I had to use that against him in there tonight.
Are you able to put that behind you now and move forward?
Absolutely. I'm a competitor at heart. I never want to come in here and maliciously hurt someone. Maybe the next guy, I might, but I never want to try to maliciously hurt somebody in here. I want to compete. That's what I do better than anyone. I compete. I am the best in the world because I can compete better than all these guys.
Was it hard seeing him that emotional after the fight?
Absolutely. It was very hard. I was trying. I was going to bawl like I was in there, and I had to. I'm like, you're the champ. Come on, compose yourself now. I almost started bawling because I don't know exactly. I know what that loss feels like. I have a loss in my record. I'm not perfect. I know what that felt like. And I don't know how much he wanted this. Like I said, we grew in the sport together, and we had a common goal. And so having to be the one to do that to him, it almost broke me in there.
Sorry, man, I'm not trying to make you cry now. With Masvidal, it's quite clear when you talk about him that you really, really don't like the guy. And I know before the first fight, there was the build-up, there was the interaction at the media day and all that sort of stuff. But why is it exactly that you have so much contempt for him?
The fact that I said what I said for a reason. Put some respect on my name. these guys don't understand, like, I'm different. You would think he learned that the first time because I dealt with worse than he. Everyone was saying, oh, he took the fight on 6 days' notice. But guess what? I took it on 6 days' notice. I was here in Las Vegas, flying back home. They called me while I was in between flights in Dallas. I had to leave my bags, leave the airport, call my parents to pick me up at the airport. They picked me up, went straight to Target, bought a scale, stepped on the scale. Not to mention, I ate like a pig the night before because I said I have no fight. I'm 195 pounds when I step on the scale. Called the coach down there, Tony Cabela. I said, hey, Coney, come. We need to work out. Worked out like crazy that night. Got off about 5, 6 pounds. And then I got on the scale. I said, we're within striking distance. The next day, flew back to Vegas. Then flew to Abu Dhabi. I had maybe approximately 4 days. I didn't sleep at all to prepare for that fight. And he had a built-in excuse. He's like, oh, I took the fight on 6 days' notice. Give me 3 weeks, and I'll see what I'll do. I'll give you a whole training camp. And this time I want to stop him for real because I think that's the only thing that's going to close his mouth. He's pretending, walking around here like he's Jesus or something. Well, I'm going to put him in a coffin this time.
For what it's worth, I know you said you doubt his interest in the fight.
Absolutely not.
His management are online saying they do want the fight, and they would like you guys to coach the Ultimate Fighter against each other. Any interest?
He don't want that fight. He don't want that fight. I guarantee you he doesn't want that fight. I wouldn't say it if I didn't want it. Have I lied up here yet? Have I lied to you guys yet? About anything? Nothing. I said what I wanted to do, and that's what I'm going to do. Let's see if it materializes.
And last thing from me, with this win, your name's starting to get considered up there as one of the best. How do you see a fight between yourself and prime George St. Pierre playing out?
I love George. I really do. I mean, one of the inspirations early when I started watching the sport. But I am a whole different animal nowadays. It's a different ball game. I love George. I think George is tough. You know, I consider him one of the greatest. But a fight with me and George, okay. You know, you saw what I did with jab. George was a master with the jab, but you saw what I did with jabs.
Come on, right here. Looking back before you fought Tyron for the title, I think there was like a stretch where you would go fight Damian Maia in Chile, and then you'd go fight Rafael dos Anjos. Like these guys coming off losses, but you're willing to fight them, and then you volunteer to fight Colby in January to save that pay-per-view, and then and then you even cut weight for a backup fight with Woodley and Till. As the champion now, you're seeing the top 5. None of them are fighting each other. They're all like calling for these big fights. How frustrating is it that you, the champion, and none of your contenders are competing with each other now?
I don't have to worry about that. I'm the champion. When it's time to feed me, they're going to find somebody to feed me. You know, I'm not worried about these guys. What does that say about the champion where the contenders don't want to fight each other to challenge the champion? What does that say? They know what, once they get up here, they know what's waiting for them up here. So, you know, there's like, well, I like being number 3 in the world. I'll stay here. I don't need to go up any higher. If they were willing to go up, then they'll fight each other and they try to get this title shot.
And when you look at someone like Stephen Thompson, that's the first fight, that's the highest ranked fighter you haven't fought yet, and then you even have to drop 2 more. I think it's like Michael Chiesa too. So are you looking at these other guys outside the top 5 too as possible opponents?
No, I mean, I don't really care. I'm a fan of the sport, so of course my eyes is on what's going on. But no, you know, it's up to the company. They'll you know, Dana does a tremendous job at getting these guys. So, you know, when he feels like a guy's done enough, he'll present them to me, and then if we can agree on it, then, you know, we'll make it happen.
Hey, champ. Congratulations on the victory all the way back here. Now that this chapter's over, or not, maybe it's not over with Gilbert, do you ever see the day where you can go back and walk and train in Sanford MMA?
It's a good question. I never say never in life. You know, I learned that one early, so I just never say never.
And to get the respect that you deserve, do you think the next time that we see you, maybe it's a platform like The Ultimate Fighter to get the eyeballs that you want?
I don't know. I'm not dwelling. I'm not worried about that right now. You know, like I said, my job is to go out there and defend and win fights. Actually, not defend. I need to compete. I need to keep saying that. I don't defend this belt. I compete each and every time for this belt. That's how I approach this. So, that's all I'm worried about. I'm gonna sit with Dana. We're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna decide what we're gonna do moving forward. But I'm not really worried about that right now. Right now, I'm thinking about my little girl.
And lastly, if you care at all, do you have a preference at who Leon Edwards fights next?
No, I respect Leon. Leon's is done some good work. It's unfortunate that he hasn't been fighting as much as I think he would like, but much respect to him. Once he gets up here, we'll do it again.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Kamaru, over here on your left. You've seen a lot of champions have different reigns. Some guys were able to fight all of the guys in their division. Other guys, it seemed like they had those money fights sooner and, did big business for them in a short span. I know the business, you leave it to, your people. But when you think about your run, your championship legacy, what kind do you want it to be? Is it where you fought all the guys, or where you just had the biggest fights regardless of the numbers?
I just take it. I take it one fight at a time. I'm not really worried about that. I don't come in and say, "Oh, I want a big fight. I want this. I want that." I mean, of course, I would like George, but I don't want George because of money or anything like that. Like I said, I'm a competitor. I want George because George left on top. George can still do it. I see him training. Don't think I'm not. George, I'm watching you. I see you training. George can still do it. So if there's potential for that big fight, if George wants to come back, then of course, George can cut the line, absolutely. But I'm not necessarily worried about that big money fight right now. I'm just worried about the next guy, and that's what I do. I knock off the next guy, and I knock off the next guy. Then you guys look back and say, "Shit, he's beat everybody." That's all I'm focused on.
I know there's a lot going on in the lightweight division, but if any of those guys ever said, I want to move up and take on the Nigerian Nightmare, do you feel like, they would have to get in line because you have so many guys at welterweight?
Well, first they got to get through Justin Gaethje. So that's a savage down there. They got to get through him first, and then they can even look at this weight division.
How do you celebrate a night like tonight?
I'm going to go back to my room, drink a lot of water because I'm dehydrated. And I would love to call my daughter, but I'm pretty sure she's asleep right now. So just go in my room and try to decompress. It takes a lot out of you going in there. I'm not a guy who has to party right away, after a fight. I like to go and decompress. If I was getting paid, I might go to a little after party spot. But, right now I would love to just go in my room and just decompress.
Is there a reason you have the 007 look, or is it just the suit look good?
Man, I'm dressed for business. When I come in here, it's all about business. It's no games. I'm very calculated. If you guys haven't realized by now, it's no games to me. This wasn't I saw no face, no friends, none of that. Even to the walkout song, it's no games to me. This is real. I am as real as it gets. I'm a competitor. I might not brag the most. I might not yell the most or scream the most or be the loudest one in the room, but trust me, I am fucking real.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kamaru, when you were, after the fight, you came to the middle of the ring, you were on your knees looking at Burns, his back was to you as he was dealing with the loss. What was going through your mind there?
It was hard. That was hard. That was very, very hard for me to see because I was responsible for that. Like I said, this is a guy that I grew up with in the sport. We trained together each and every day. We gravitated towards one another because we shared a common goal, and I loved his work ethic, and he saw my work ethic, And so, of course, we spent a lot of time together, which is why this one was a little. It was business, but of course it was personal as well, because he was coming after what I had and saying that he was next. He was going to be the champion, and they know that I'm different, and for that it just kind of it hurt me in a sense, but then once I came to and saw what I had done, it was tough for me to watch.
When you did you speak to his team, your old teammates? Were some of the issues buried?
Vicente was in his corner. I love Vicente Luque. That's another savage in the division as well. And the funny thing is, me and Vicente was actually the people the two who had this talk. if we were ever in this position, what we would do. We had that talk early in our career because me and him were both on the Ultimate Fighter. And once we got off the Ultimate Fighter, we had that talk. So I'm pretty close to him in that sense. And so, yeah, just, said what I had to say,
Issues buried?
Yeah, I mean, this was another challenger. It was a little more personable leading up, but, it was business as usual. I went in there, took care of business, and now on to the next.
And many people felt like Gilbert Burns was, the one to really challenge you, and you've gone through him. Jorge, you've beat him. It sounds like it's more personal to fight him again, but who do you really see as that person that could really challenge you?
I've said it before. These guys don't understand my mind for the sport. And my mind is different than all these guys. And so, of course, everyone's going to, what they say, oh, Burns, he has the jiu-jitsu. He's not worried about it. I saw all these critics. Dan Hardy, he's not worried about it. He's gonna, he can submit him anywhere, do this and do that. I just got to worry about me. Once I know, when I started this, when I was 14 years old, no one had to tell me to go on extra runs. No one had to tell me to make a sauna in my own house, in the bathroom, and waste all the hot water. No one had to tell me that. I said, hey, I want to be the best. I want to beat those guys at the top. I'm going to do all this extra stuff. That's how my mind works. So when I get in there, it's different. These guys don't understand. It might not look the prettiest, and so people are sitting at home, oh, I can do that, I can do that. What Tyron Woodley say? He said, I would do everything better than you. What did I say to him? I will dominate you in every aspect of the game. And what did I do? And what did Colby Covington say? He's going to leave me on a stretcher. And then I said, what? I will punish you for 4.5 rounds, and then I will get you out of there. And then what did Masvidal say? I'm going to baptize him, this fake Jesus wannabe. I'm going to baptize him. We know what happened. Same here. So, these guys can say whatever they want, but, I go in there and I take care of business.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Kamaru, you said the right hand that hit you kind of got you into the fight a little bit, woke you up. Did you expect him to fly across the cage at the beginning though? With that, he kind of swung at you right away.
In a sense, yes, because it was a mental battle. This was a mental battle. Like I said, our sparrings went a lot like that, and so he's got a lot of confidence. And me and my coach Trevor, we talk about it. He's got a lot of confidence. He was coming in with all that confidence. We haven't trained together in quite some time. So in his mind, I knew he had to come in and tell me that, hey, I'm not little bro. I'm here to take that from you. I knew he was going to come. But my mind is stronger than all these guys. I just had to stay composed, find my footing, start picking them off. And I only do this as fight progresses, and that's kind of what happened.
It's kind of a it's a weird stat, I guess, but you caught yourself from going down when he hit you. Like you stopped yourself, you held yourself up. So still no knockdown.
Oh shit, this man, he didn't come to play.
But they didn't. Obviously, it wasn't credited as a knockdown for him. So still none on your record. Is that important to you?
I don't care about that. I don't care about stats. I love seeing them when I'm preparing for a fight, and they're like, "Oh man, he's never this, never done that. He's tied for this, tied for." I love seeing the stats, but I don't worry about that. If I was worried about that, then I wouldn't have been present in there. I try not to worry about those stats. I just let them pile up.
And you've talked, here and there, bits and pieces in the past about your dad and his story, but now that it's kind of out there, everybody got to watch the piece and everything, and understand that. Like, how did you feel just having kind of your life opened up like that?
It's tough for me. I'm pretty private, but it's something that I had to talk to him first. I had to get his permission. I mean, I'm a grown man. I can do what I want, but I had to get his permission for that. I talked to him, and I said, hey, I think this is a story that needs to be said. People need to hear this because, there's so many other people that actually deal with situations like that as well. And so I talked to him, and, I had to convince him a little bit, but he got around to the idea, and then we did the piece. But, I'm glad he's home. You know, he was on the phone screaming. You know, like I said, I didn't want to cheat him this experience. I wanted him to be here and really experience a full UFC experience. So hopefully, fingers crossed, COVID magically disappears and we're able to have full arena shows again.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all.
Trevor.
Good, bad, all. I appreciate you. Thank you.